Hey everybody, it's Mark again. Because I'm having many split units installed in my house, I had to remove some stuff to get prepared for them. I had a shelf there. I had a bunch of movements on it. And I also decided, because I put this light up, it's not that dang bright, even though it's on the highest setting. I decided to move my clock repair office upstairs. So this is the most cleared my bedroom has been in a long time. And this was brand new laminated flooring when I moved. I take that back. I put brand new laminated flooring in this bedroom here a few years ago. And this will have to be replaced before I sell this house. But anyway, I still have some stuff I gotta take upstairs. But my daughter, her 2 clocks that I gave her for her birthday here a couple years ago, they fell off the wall. So I'm gonna work on these 2 clocks for the first time upstairs. I still have a crap load of stuff that I have to get out of a box to sort everything out, but this is where I'll be working. And now I can see outside in my backyard and enjoy the day while I'm working on clocks. It should be more peaceful. Yes, it is upstairs, but I'm not getting any younger, and so I need to take advantage of the upstairs while I can. Hopefully I won't fall down the stairs, and we'll see how it goes. I might have to move everything back downstairs. I don't have my phone stand bound yet, so this is the clock that I have to work on. This is dropped off the wall, and a few things came unglued. And this is the other clock that I have to work on, which is a 1/4-hour cuckoo clock that also dropped off the wall. I think the kids were playing around, my grandkids, and hit the wall. They shouldn't have. They were both sitting in the same area. But anyway, I'm going to work on this clock. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing. I might have to put more light in the situation, but hopefully not. Give me a thumbs up, and may God bless each and every one of you. Down my phone stand, and I had to because I get questions about how do I put the chains back on without taking the movement out. I've got other videos on that, but I'm going to title this video specifically how to put a chain back on without taking the movement out. And again, it's working on this cuckoo clock here that dropped off the wall. First of all, if the chain is out, that's what you have to have in the first place. And so you take the links off. You take the loop off. You take the thing that grabs a hold of weight off. You inspect each chain to make sure that it is going to be serviceable. Inspect each chain link, that is. I can run my hands along the chain as I'm looking to make sure there's no debris inside the links, but I can feel whether or not a link is messed up. So what you're going to do, you're going to want to grab a long screwdriver or a chopstick like this, barbecue skewer, and you're going to want to pull the chain that's on there up all the way so it doesn't come off. And then you're going to want to put this into the holes to find out which section ratchets. If I put it in this hole, I already know it's the wrong hole. And so I want the chain goes in from this hole and comes around and comes out this hole. So next step is you're going to want to grab a hold of the chain and stick it down in that hole and try to align it up with the gear. And once you think you have it lined up with the gear, stick your... Sorry, I went in the wrong hole. I was right. Sometimes you doubt yourself. But as I was saying, stick it in the hole. This is the hole that the actual weight connects to. And then once you get it started on the gear, and I'm going to see if I could get it started. Once you get it started on the gear, you stick your screwdriver in the other side and you ratchet it. And if it started, that chain will go in, but it's not started, so I have to do this again. It sometimes helps if the clock has got side doors that you can open, but in this case it doesn't. And so you have to look at it as you're putting the chain in, and unfortunately I can't show you that on camera, so stand by. Like I said, once you get it started, you put your screwdriver in the other hole and you ratchet the wheel, and you'll see that chain, if you did it right, is pulled through. You should be able to see the chain pulling through. And as you're doing this, you have to tilt the clock, or the chain is going to go places where you don't want it to go. And give it a few ratchets, and then inspect it to see if the chain is where it needs to be. And you should be able to see the chain is coming out now. Let me turn on my light on this camera. You should be able to see. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. New place to work on. So the chain came out, and it might be stuck with another loop. No, there we go. And believe it or not, it's not that difficult to do. Your important part is A, make sure there's no particles of the chain inside the movement, and B, whatever chain is on, you have to where it's not gonna come off when you turn the movement upside down, and that's why you want to pull the chain so the hook is all the way up. And so now all I have to do now is connect the hooks and the washers, and that should be simple enough. You just spread one of the links, put the hook on. Now that I have the chain back on, the weight on, it's a matter of putting the clock in beat. And if you can put your finger where the leader wire is touching your finger and bounces off and continues to tick away, the clock is in beat. And I've got videos that show you how to put a clock in beat, and so check them out. So all I need to do now on this clock is take some Old English oil or Howard Feed and Wax to it, shine it up, and glue the fixtures back on. So need to straighten out what I call the foot of the crutch assembly. You see how this is not, every bit of it has to be parallel to the ground, and it's not. It's tilting to the left. And so if it's not parallel, as the leader wire hits one side and bounces off and hits the other side, it's going to hit it differently and possibly stop your clock. The dog was broken, so I glued it, but part of its face is missing. So I'm going to try to build it up with my favorite stuff, super glue and baking soda. And afterwards, you can color it. It'll take a couple layers. And it'll take some filing, but now it's built up. So I just have to match this side to look like that side. So I got the deer and the two trees glued back on. I still got to glue the dog on, but I have to color it first. And I got it carved down. And once it's colored, you really won't see a difference. But I've got an appointment I gotta get to, so we'll continue this when I get back. And my permanent markers that I need to color his eye in with are still downstairs, so I gotta get those. And one of the main reasons why I moved my office upstairs is because most of the cuckoo clocks that I have to work on are upstairs, to include down here. There's a bunch of clocks in that area there that I need to work on. And in this area here, I've got clocks all over the place. As you can see, the dog has got an eye now. The clock is up and running. The dog's not perfect, but it never will be again. It's broken. And so using the 6-foot rule, you'll never know the difference. Now it's on to the quarter-hour cuckoo clock. I did have the back door on, and there's going to be people who want to hear it with the back door. So there you go. Now the quarter-hour cuckoo clock, it's got more damage. The topper is broken, and I think I got the other piece downstairs, and then the base came away from the clock itself. So I'm going to have to take the hands off to fix all this. Now I've got plenty of videos on these quarter-hour cuckoo clocks. All you have to do is get on my YouTube channel and search quarter hour. Now this particular hand's got a slot for the hole. It's not square, it's not round, but it's rectangular hole. Now, there's a square wire that goes around the bird's tail. And that wire is connected right here. There's a spring type system in here. So as the thing moves, as this 4-leaf petal moves, it lifts this wire up, and this bellow is going to hit burst, and this bellow is going to be held by this staple right here until this wire from this left bellow comes down and hits that wire and pushes it out of the way. And as you can see, it's not pushing that out of the way, so that's just a fine adjustment of bending this wire toward the front more. And this bellow needs to be glued back down. And right now I got the wire bent too much. I need to glue this bellow down before I can do anything. And the bird got bent. It should be square in that tail, in that loop. But as you can hear, both bellows are playing. This one's not playing as loud as it should, and that's because it needs glued back down. So I need to do that first. And this bellow tube is part of the case. So you want to blow in it to make sure it's working right. And that's the high note bellow. And this is the low note bellow when it plays right. And you will see that this bellow is ripped right here. I have to go downstairs and get my bellow material, but I think I could put a hinge on this to fix it without having to recover the whole bellow. Using some hot glue gun, I got the bellow clamped down. I'm waiting for that to dry. The base that goes onto the clock was stapled down, but unfortunately it's behind the paper dial, which was glued down. So I was able to get the paper dial off. It looks like crap, but after I'm all done, hopefully it'll look okay. I might have a dial around here somewhere, but this dial goes with this clock, and I'm a firm believer in keeping it as original as possible. Now, God willing, I won't have to work on this thing again. However, if I do, I didn't want to use wood glue or Elmer's glue or anything else on the dial, and I didn't want to poke holes in it with nails or staples, so that's what this clear tacky glue is for. And I put toothpicks in this thing when I'm done, that way you pull the toothpicks out and get the glue out, but I gotta wait for that to dry also. As far as the topper, I looked and I can't find the other part of the topper. I'm gonna have to ask my daughter if she has it, or I'm gonna have to look some more, but I put these two clocks on a table downstairs, and this is pendulum bob for this clock, and it works perfect. Their last name is on it. It's just a cheap piece of wood, but anyway, I'm getting there. Clock didn't have a back door when I originally got the clock, so I made this. Just cut out a piece of wood, took my Dremel, put some grooves in on both sides so it slides up the back housing, and drilled a hole in it, because that's how you hang the clock, with this hole. And I apologize for the light. I'm still sorting that out. But as I was saying earlier, when this bellow lifts, this wire right here goes underneath this nail. And then this contraption here is what lifts the bird. And this wire, because the way it's bent, holds into that staple until this bellow comes down and hits that wire. And they're called quarter-hour cuckoo clocks because they only cuckoo one time every 15 minutes. And I need to cut, I made that hinge, I need to cut this section of the bellow off, or glue it down one. That way you can see the bird better. They're not that loud. They're a novelty clock. I mentioned this in other videos. They were designed when tourists go to Germany and spend all their money visiting the Black Forest in Germany, but they want a souvenir and they don't want to spend several hundred or several $1,000s on a regular cuckoo clock, and so they purchase these. You can't find, I've searched, and they have some novelty weight-driven cuckoo clocks, but as far as quarter-hour cuckoo clocks, Most companies are going to battery operated novelty, souvenir, whatever you want to call it, cuckoo clocks. These things might have cost $150 versus the regular cuckoo clocks, which are several, like I said, several hundred or $1,000. And so that's why these things were developed. And again, I made this back door. It slides right up. You want to make sure that the back door is not being affected by any of the wires. Like right now, I can see that it's hitting this wire, but let's see what happens when it still works. The hand is it's going off like a minute prior to the hour, and to adjust that, you want to make sure you turn the hands clockwise. This is what happens when you turn the hands counterclockwise on this. This wire is going to catch this pedal, and it's not going to be able to go any further. You see that? So make sure you turn the hands clockwise. To make this thing stay on longer, I'm going to have to bend this line, this wire, toward the left some to make it stay on the bellow longer. And let's see what happens now. It's right on the money. Again, they're not that loud of clocks. But let me fix that paper. I'll be back. Also have these markers here. I think I bought them at the dollar store. They're colored brush tip markers. They're good for touching up because they're colored. They're good for touching up colored areas of a clock. Along with my colored permanent markers. I touched up the dial, and so it looks a lot better than what it did. I touched up some of the wood, and I fixed that paper. So if you don't like the way your bird is pointing, there's a piece of metal that it sits on. Like right now, the bird is pointing up in the air, and if I can get to that bird, I could make him point down more. But in doing that, I messed up my wire here, so I'm gonna have to adjust the wire again. And I got a clamp gluing a piece of wood that had separated. So I gotta adjust this wire again, and we'll get back to you. I have to adjust the wire again when it dropped. It's almost in beat there, but it's gonna stop. And that's because it's hitting something. But the clock is pretty level. And if you make a pendulum bob like I did, you might have to put a heavier weight on it. It had 250 gram weights, and it wasn't keeping the even tick-tock. It would stop. So now I got a heavier weight. What I like most about putting my clock room upstairs is I can turn the lights off and go downstairs and don't have to worry about working on clocks. Give me a thumbs up. May God bless.